Hi, welcome to MBA Now. I'm Rob Van Raphorst. The MBA Diversity and Inclusion Committee have a lot of exciting things going on right now. Tamara King, MBA's Vice President of Residential Policy and Member Engagement, is here to talk with us about everything that's happening. So Tamara, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What are some of the major themes at this year's Diversity and Inclusion Summit?
We're actually really excited about this year's summit. This will be our fourth summit, and we are very excited to have the summit kicked off this year by Director Mel Watt, FHFA Director, so he's going to set a great tone. But in terms of the major themes, what we're going to be focusing on this year, of course, we'll talk about the business case for diversity and inclusion, but we will also spend a lot of time in our programming talking about lending to diverse communities, specifically Hispanics and African Americans. As we all know, the numbers are really driving our lending in the business for the upcoming several years. That's really the growth area. And so if our industry doesn't get ahead of and become really creative and start thinking about how we're going to deal with lend to our new customers, we're going to be behind the eight ball. And so we really want to spend some time there, as well as talking about inclusion. We talk a lot about diversity, but we really want to spend time talking about inclusion, which has been described as how to really harness the diversity that you have in your company and make sure that you're maximizing it from a business perspective, how it's making your culture better, how it's making you more competitive, how it's really positioning you to be a company where you can attract the best and brightest talent that you can. So we're going to spend a lot of time on those things.
So what can a company do in their own business to better understand their diversity and inclusion efforts?
Another great question. I get that question quite a bit. A lot of companies come to me and say, I got it. I'm bought into the business case for diversity and inclusion. How can I start it in my own company? And what we often suggest is that they go to our website. We have a free self-assessment that will get you started on how and where your company is in terms of diversity and inclusion on issues such as leadership, diverse suppliers, recruitment and retention, and it can allow you and your leadership especially to get a baseline of where your company is today. Importantly, MBA does not keep that information, so it's strictly for the company to use to help you go forward.
What are we doing to recognize companies in the mortgage industry that are doing a lot of good work with diversity and inclusion?
Well, we're actually doing a lot of things. One, we are really focusing on making sure that people read about and hear about the good works that companies are doing through our MBA news links and as well as our MBA insights. We're having interviews with current leaders in the industry who are either diverse themselves or are really doing interesting work around diversity and inclusion in their company. So we're doing interviews, we're having features, we're really trying to put it out there for best practice purposes. But of course, our big event is at the annual convention as well as our craft convention. And those events, we are having awards that we started last year where we present awards to companies that are really showing leadership and outstanding work in the area of diversity and inclusion in both their organizational efforts as well as their market outreach. So that's really the place where we're going to put a spotlight on the companies that people should look towards as leaders.
It's such a big focus at MBA, and it's such a huge issue for the industry that really needs to be given more attention. So we really appreciate you coming by and talking about it.
Sure, thank you.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at MBA Mortgage and like Mortgage Bankers Association on Facebook and Instagram.